What's going on? Pop Stoner, I am Rice, Michael Peterson, Hebrew Cheetah, Kenny, and my man Nades. Nades, right to it. How we doing on this Monday afternoon?
Doing good, man. Coming off an incredible weekend over at the Nation. Just absolutely raked in pretty much every contest over the weekend. Did our community, including our fourth Millie Maker. So congrats out to him. I know our guy Redmond continues to just absolutely smash in the MLB streets. Another 100K hit for him. Winners all over the place. Kenny had another nice weekend, another day in NY for that guy. But yeah, incredible momentum rolling into this 9-game Monday slate here. Looking to keep it rolling. Got some big contests here. There's another double or a quad qualifier for the live final for the high stakes guys out there. 34.75, I think, or 34.70 qualifier with 4 live final seats. There's 111 tonight. There's a lot of good contests. So looking to keep the momentum rolling and see if we can't find the top of the leaderboards again.
Absolutely. Love the sound of that. Who else we got in here? BB, Robert Davis, MN Holler, Sean, Woody, Cam. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well also. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, all we ask is like button and subscribe button. Yeah, got to shout out a couple people. Scar X, $1 million. I mean, man, that was so sick. It was a sweat at the end too, no doubt about that. But he came through. And when you see 1 million to first and 200K to second, obviously anyone take 200K any day of the week. But 5X, that's big boy change right there between first and second. So awesome stuff to Scar X. Ricardo, another 100K shipper. Shout out to Ricardo, absolute crusher. Saw Kenny had a great week in the MMA streets. Hebrew Cheetah, our man, split a little MMA chop as well. Redmond in the MLB chat. You can always go our SHIPIT Nation on Twitter. On Mondays, we always drop all of the winners, and it's from $1,000 all the way to $1 million, obviously. Like $1,000 is a lot of money. It can get you a lot of places. And at SHIPIT Nation, we charge a lot less for content. People are playing $5, $10 a day. I started there. Everyone has to start somewhere at the end of the day and grind your way up. So if you had a great weekend, shout out to you. If you had a bad weekend, daily fantasy sports, DFS. It's a new day. Some more money to be made. Coors Field on the slate. 9 games on tap on FanDuel and DraftKings. 7:05 start time. Looking like I always do first thing. Weather. Kevin Ross weather report. I always look for orange. I see 2 spots with orange. One is just plain orange. Cleveland and Minnesota. That's the most concerning game. He said lowering the risk just a bit here because models are coming in touch with the rain. Still think we could see it early postponed. Still think the rain will likely be a problem. I'm now leaning towards a dry start to the game with rain building. So he upgraded it, but it's still orange. That's a concern. The last one, Detroit, St. Louis, it's yellow-orange. When I see yellow first, I'm going to assume the game plays. Again, we'll talk like Twins Cleveland does play, but it's by no means a lock that we get all 9 games today. Nades, any broad slate overview, anything you want to talk before we go into pitching?
Yeah. So just to note on those 2 weather spots, that has been better than it was initially when I did do the slate plan. Cleveland, Minnesota was red-orange. Detroit, St. Louis was orange-yellow. Now it's yellow-orange and just straight orange. So still some risk there. Definitely both 2 important games, especially when we get to the pitching with Bailey Ober and Sonny Gray, both in those games in good spots there. Cardinals bats looked kind of interesting as well there. So definitely going to have to monitor that leading up to lock and see how we navigate that. We'll talk through it the best we can in regard to that. But broad slate overview is play Christopher Sanchez and stack the Phillies or the Rays is kind of what I'm seeing from dry run. I mean, the Rays are getting slammed into optimizer builds. Reason being is Houston guy did not look good in his first start, gave up 4 innings or 4 runs in 3 innings. Really good hitting weather there in Tampa with wind blowing out, and the Rays are cheap. So it allows you to spend up at pitching, which is definitely a spend up slate on pitching for the most part. There's 6 guys really at the top that you can't go wrong with any of the 6 for the most part. The weak pitching is pretty weak for a reason, but you might need to navigate down there once we get there to play some of those Dodgers blats. Obviously you got the expensive Phillies in Coors Field against Freeland. So should be a pretty interesting slate overall. Think all 9 games can play, and that definitely, hopefully, those 2 weather games do play because I like some pitching in those games for sure. So definitely going to have to figure out what to do with the pitchers leading up the lock there because last thing you want is on a 9-game slate where you can't really miss at any spot, especially pitching. Last thing you want is your pitcher to go out there, throw 2 innings and get a rain delay, and then again get cut for the game, especially with the Twins and Bailey Ober out there with how good their bullpen is. So,
yeah, good breakdown. So I agree with you. Pitching, it's top tier. The lower tier is so weak. Obviously, a couple spend up bats you want on this slate. So a couple guys in mind, but very limited when we get down. Thank you, Colin. Said 20 minutes, very windy, but shouldn't rain until later. And again, Minnesota, Cleveland right here. Bailey Ober is a pitcher we will be talking about, 8.2K and above. Is one of the first lock times, 7:05's lock, 7:40 is when that game first pitch is supposed to go. So hopefully we have Ward, and Ross said, like, if it gets canned, we might even know like early in the day. It's already getting later. So I guess that gives me a little more optimism. Keith in here, Jordan, Wisco boys. That's you as well, my man. Gangrene. Said hi to every single person. So it's time to start pitching, Nades. Kind of like you said, the broad slate overview. We only have 7 from 8K and above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When sorting by, well, just looking at Brandon Pfaadt's ownership, 1%. So pretty much no one is going to play him. Obviously a very low projection. Gets the Dodgers, who I do not like to pick on. So pretty much 6 up top is how I see it. Before I throw it to you, just want to sort ownership. You mentioned Christopher Sanchez. It's not every day we get a Coors Field chalk pitcher. The Rockies are that bad. Christopher Sanchez, fair price tag in the nature of the pitching slate. He becomes number 1. Sonny Gray, Castillo, Bailey Ober looks to be the next 3 most popular. But again, we're talking like this Twins-Cleveland game plays. If not, that Ober ownership even goes more to Christopher Sanchez in the same price. Sonny Gray probably, etc. So let's sort by salary. I'm sorting my filter right here, showing pitchers projected for 8.5 or greater. I don't want to play a pitcher projected for 8 or less. Could probably even move that up a bit, but AK Sanchez, the chalk, up to Robbie Ray at 10K. How do you see pitching?
Yeah, I'll start with the 2 guys in the same game up at the top, Robbie Ray and Bubic. Both have been really, really good this season. Robbie Ray at 10K, really good pitcher's park out there. This Royals team has just not been great. They've been better over the last 30 days in terms of overall lineup rankings. They sit kind of middle of the road at 15th right now. Giants right around there as well at 13th. They've been hitting the ball pretty good there. So there is some risk with both of those guys, but they do arguably have the highest ceilings on the slate, in my opinion. And ownership will probably come in sub 10%, especially in higher stake stuff, because just roster construction wise, right? People want to play Sanchez and Ober at 8K and 8,200. While you play both of them, you're getting at least $4,000 roughly in terms of savings amongst your roster construction, which can go a long ways when we have the Dodgers, we have the Phillies, expensive bats on the slate. So I like both of those guys at the top. I prefer Robbie Ray slightly to Bubic there. Both guys I have interest in if you can afford them. There's enough cheap bats on this slate that you can definitely play and get there and get you on a different roster construction. I'm lower on Coors Field anyways, in particular here tonight. So I like both those guys at the top. Luis Castillo, going to be pretty popular. I expect him to even come in higher owned than what's projected right now, especially with the uncertainties right there with Sonny Gray right below him and Bailey Ober in the 2 weather games. Castillo, 9,500. It feels gross playing $9,500 Castillo. It's just strictly a matchup play in White Sox out there. Pretty cold overall in Chicago and in the Midwest here. So slight boost to bats there, but man, I just hate playing the chalky Castillo at a ceiling price point on the season where he hasn't been great. His numbers over the last 3 years have significantly declined year over year. His stuff is down. He's not the same pitcher he used to be a couple of years ago where he was 30+% K rate. It's not the case. He's more of a league average arm. I think just due to the slate and due to the volatility of everything on this slate, I think he's fine, but I don't love him at 9,500 when I like the 2 guys above him more. I would rather find $200 and get up to Bubic personally, or find the 500 and get up to Robbie Ray, or save some money. Sonny Gray, I like him a lot. Really like him a lot if that game plays. Have to keep an eye on it. If it plays, I'm in on Sonny Gray against the Tigers there. I think he has a lot of upside. Price point is fine at 9K, so I don't mind that. Brandon Pfaadt is going to be certainly unowned in MME, and especially in that $5. I think getting overweight, which is not going to take much on him, is definitely viable. He just posted a huge score against these guys last time. Looking at his career numbers against the Dodgers here, He's got a 27% K rate against this Dodgers team. He's pitched well, 107 plate appearances, expected batting average of 274. So there is some upside there. He has pitched good, and you're going to leverage the field in MME. I can't play him in single entry and 3-max stuff, but in MME, I mean, you play 10% him, you're 10x the field, and you just get you on a totally different roster construction on a slate where it does seem so cut and dry from pitching. And none of these guys are bulletproof by any means. So I can see all of these guys having issues. So taking a chance on a guy that does have success against the Dodgers team who just got swept by the Angels over the weekend, don't think is the craziest play in the world. Bailey Ober, I love a ton. If that game plays, this Cleveland lineup is just not scary. It's a much better lineup to pick on than last year. There's a lot of high strikeout bats in there. Bailey Ober's looked good. So I'm in on Ober. And then Sanchez, it's scary, man. Christopher Sanchez being chalk in Coors Field, but 8K is too cheap against the Rockies in this matchup there. It's just due to the nature of the slate. He's going to go long. He's a good arm. He's going to have run support most likely behind him. I can't really say too many things bad about him other than it's 50% owned pitcher in Coors Field on a slate where, I mean, pitching is kind of wide open. So I mean, there's definitely a case to go in on the other guys and just take a chance because, again, he's in Coors Field, and there's a lot of other guys up here at the top that I mentioned already that can definitely outscore him pretty dramatically. And, again, there's cheap enough bats to pretty much play anyone you want on the slate. So I'm in on all of these guys above. Fott's probably the only one that really doesn't make single entry and 3-max stuff for me, but I gave the reasoning in MME for him on why I think he's a pretty good play to give overweight on overall.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue a 1% owned guy. I hate pitching on the Dodgers. He's surrounded by guys I like a lot more. I think if one of the 2 games got canned, Minnesota, like we lost Ober or Sonny Gray, or the St. Louis game, we lose Sonny, I think it's a little more appealing because, I mean, all the ownership then would go to Castillo, Sanchez, Ray, Bubik. Like, people don't want to play these guys down below. I don't expect that to change. If we lose Ober and Sonny, you're just going to see way more concentrated ownership up top, which would then make Fott more interesting to me. Yeah, I like your Robbie Ray Bubik stuff. Like, people are just going to save the money on slate where they want some Dodgers, they want some Phillies, they want to spend up for bats, and they see, look at the projection, 16.39 for Ray. Actually, right on cue. Michael Peterson, can you show how to get blended projections? So yeah, right here, when you click the little wheel settings button, the average right here for SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim. I do believe, though, that you have to be on the core package. Yeah, I do know for sure you have to be on the core package to get that. The reason is because the starter pack you have to have. The core pack does not get it. The reason for it is you can see you do not get the projections and ownership from SaberSim on the core package. So starter for only $30 more. Let me unclick this so you can see. For only $30 more, you can get the starter, be able to build 350 more teams, do get SaberSim's projections ownership so you can take the average, and contest flashback, which is absolutely huge as well. Now, if you haven't used anything, we'll go back to pitching in a sec. Appreciate the easy segue for me, Michael. If you haven't used anything at SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim, I think by far the best deal right now is the core package. Usually $99, only $24 for your first month. Absolutely cannot beat that. Get SaberSim, all of our content, and the best Discord around. If you've already used your 1 month from here, then I do think the best value is upgrading for only $30 more, be able to build more lineups, get a different set of projections ownership, and be able to use contest flashback, see different contests for different sports, what the pros are doing, etc. So how you do that, though, this wheel button right here allows you to take the average SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim. Yeah, back to it. I really don't have strong leans up top. Like the ownership game, I think Ray and Bubik are interesting. Also, something to note on this slate, like there's some really warm spots across the country, and there's some pretty chilly spots. Like it always feels warm in Tampa, 88 degrees there. Looking at St. Louis, if the game plays, almost 80 degrees. Looking later at the A's, 88 degrees. Dodgers, 75. But then we get to some spots like Coors Field, 60, wind blowing in. I like Sanchez for that. Ground ball pitcher, as someone mentioned. The Giants, I always like playing pitchers in that park, only 60 degrees, wind blowing out, doesn't do much. 60 degrees with Robbie Ray and Bubic pretty low owned. Absolutely like that. Then the other one, Luis Castillo, 50 degrees, wind blowing across, it looks like in Chicago. Bad White Sox lineup. Luis Castillo has at least what he has going for him. The pitches, what I like sorting by here. You sort by the projected pitch count. Number 2 on the slate is Castillo. Number 1's Robbie Ray, but only a handful projected above 90. And we've talked about that at great length, that we have been looking at the pitch count more than usual to start this year with pitchers getting pulled so early. So long story short, if I had to rank it, I'm going to go with you with the Ray Bubic stuff to be contrarian, to be able to eat more chalky bats. Christopher Sanchez, think he's going to get the win. The Rockies stink, so he'd be right there as well. And then, I don't have a strong lead. I wouldn't play FOD if all the games go, but I pretty much, we'll talk bottom tier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would be fine if those are my only 6 pitchers in the pool. I hate the lower tier. Now, Nades, maybe you can help me out. 8K and below, any of these guys. Let's see who's getting any ownership. Pepio's getting a little. Dean Kramer, Logan Allen, this Colton Gordon dude's projected for 11 points. Can we make a case for any of these guys to get a little different roster construction, or are you just jamming the top 2?
Yeah, so ideally the top 6, right, that you kind of hit on, I'm with you there. Those are pretty much my same 6. I had put them in the slate plan. They were the first 6 in my slate plan, and I said interchange these. I don't really have a super strong lean. Sanchez is by far and away the chalkiest option. So if you just want to play game theory on a what feels like a shorter slate, just based on how condensed things are, by all means, go for it. But there is a couple of guys down here if you want to take stabs. I'll start with JT Ginn. Reason being is the Angels are going to pick up some ownership in terms of offense, just due to the weather, due to the ballpark, and due to what they just did to the Dodgers over the weekend. Baseball is still a crazy game. The only issue I have with Ginn is he only threw 64 pitches in his rehab start. But looking at his numbers last year, he was roughly a 26% K rate to righties, had low walks, and was above 50% ground ball rate. I think at his price point, if we see 80 pitches out of him, he has upside at 6,700. I like the A's bats to give him some run support there as well. So I think, again, Saber has him right around 80, 81 pitches. If he gets there, I think he has upside at 6,700. His metrics looked good. It's against an Angels team that, hey, realistically, this Angels team has been a team we've picked on, especially with right-handed pitch. I mean, they strike out a ton. So I think he has upside. The other guy, Dean Kramer, people might play. I have no interest personally in Kramer or Pepio. I know some people are going to play. I just think 7,800 for Pepio. You're really just doing it off of a pivot, off of Sanchez and Ober. I'd much rather just play those guys and play lower on bats around them than go to Pepio's side. Personally, he's reverse splitsy anyways, and Houston's going to roll nine righties out against him in one of the best hitting park environments on the slate. So I'm out on him. The only other guy down here, I'd probably just go all the way down to the bottom with Colton Gordon. Personally, at 6K, because again, number one, raised bats are getting slammed and optimizers slammed in projections. And none of these guys are really good down here. They're all equal. My favorite guy is Ginn, but even him, he has a pitch count concern, right? So those are the two guys that I would look at down there, but they're both gross. Could they post a good game? Yeah, absolutely. But they could also get blown up and score negative DraftKings points. So you don't know what you're getting with them. It just gets you on a different roster construction. I would say when I'm playing those guys, I probably wouldn't play the Phillies because that's probably going to be a popular way. So maybe play them with play with some of the higher priced A's bats, higher priced Dodgers bats, which are going to pick up ownership. But if you're not playing those guys down there with the Phillies bats, I think you're pretty contrarian enough right there alone that you don't really have to worry about who else you play them with. So those are kind of the only two guys I really have interest in, but it's pretty gross overall. And I won't fault anyone for sticking above Sanchez and above for MME.
Yeah. I'm with you, but I do like your shout on Ginn. I mean, he's getting a little ownership. So I left these two in. I took out Brandon Pfaadt. Maybe Nades would have him in a little bit, but we're looking at 8 pitchers right here for 20 teams, which I think solid. K-prop on Ginn, though, even at that suspect pitch count, 4.5 juice on the over, like minus 135 on the over, better than a lot of people that are more expensive than him. I mean, I like picking on these Angels, been doing it a good amount this year, so I don't hate that if you're going low. I didn't mention K-props really on the slate, which I always do. So I'll circle back a little bit, and then we can move on from pitching. But Christopher Sanchez leads the slate, 6.5 plus 125 on the over. After that, we have a couple 5.5s, a good amount. Who has the most juice? Minus 110 for Castillo, minus 160 for Sonny Gray. So that's number 2. Minus 525 for Robbie Ray. So we're looking Christopher Sanchez, Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray, Luis Castillo, and then it looks like Chris Bubik, who's 5.5, a little juice on the under. So no surprises. When you're looking at salary, the K-props pretty much stand out in terms of salary, except Christopher Sanchez, who, again, is only 8K, obviously in Coors Field, but does lead the slate with his biggest K-prop, 6.5 juice on the under. That Ginn one was surprising, though. 4.5 juice on the over for that price tag. And I'm not even convinced he's going to be 15% either. So I like it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty high. And the reason being, I mean, looking at the Angels lineup over the course of the season, everyone's going to realize, right, they just swept the Dodgers over the weekend. This is still the 25th ranked lineup over the last 30 days in terms of expected runs scored, all the metrics. They have a 27.4% K rate against right-handed pitching. And where Ginn struggles against lefties, well, guess what? He's got 2 lefties that he really has to worry about. Moncada's a switch hitter. He's going to hit from the left side probably to start the game. And Shanuel. Those are really the only 2 guys. So he's going to see between 6 and 7 righties in this lineup where he's got a 25% K rate, ISO number below 100. So he doesn't allow power, keeps the ball on the ground. And, I mean, he's cheap on a slate where everyone's everyone's playing the same type of roster construction. So I think it's a viable play. If he gets us 80 pitches, I definitely think he can post a big number just because he does have K upside against right-handed batters, and he's going to face majority righties.
I like it. Makes a lot of sense. Going to move on from pitching. Did want to answer this, though. C. Mitch, first of all, welcome. We'd love to have you. I hope you're in the Discord. We do have a SaberSim portion in Discord that can help with some questions. But also, there's a plethora of videos on YouTube, like right here for Saber School. Right here, when you click on this, it can help you with so many different things. A bunch of videos that they've done. Office hours, they do that a bunch, once, twice a week on their channel where you can ask any questions you want. They go through it. Bunch of different videos, again. And if you want, like, how to do groups, go to YouTube and search SaberSim, how to make groups, etc. Or in the Discord, SaberSim chat can help that out a lot. So we do have education videos, more education. This is more process-based and brought like satellites, cash games, smaller field stuff. This just goes into the nuts and bolts, deep dive, not SaberSim. But for SaberSim, though, they have so many videos online that you can usually help, or they can help. And if you can't find how to get your answer question, again, in the Discord, in SaberSim, you can ask and they will help you. I think this is too cute, personally. I would at least play 1 pitcher above 8K. Again, almost all my teams I want 2 guys probably above 8K. We found 2 that we're fine with, but I think it's too cute. Sounds like you do too, Nades.
Yeah, you're giving up too much upside at the top overall. Obviously, it's baseball. Anything can happen. And in a lineup where you're doing that, you're going to have a very similar roster construction to everybody else that's doing that same thing, right? You're going to have the expensive Phillies and expensive Dodgers for the most part, just projection wise. That's just how calculators and optimizers work. Even if you're hand building, you're going to go in there and click up the most expensive bats, right? The Otanis, the Trey Turners, the Schwarbers, the Harpers of the world. That you're just going to fall into the same build as everyone else. So my preference is one of Bubich or Ray all the way up at the top, and then going down to one of those guys, just because people are going to split the middle and they're going to go 2 8K guys, 8K, 8,200, right, with Ober and Sanchez. If you go all the way up to the top and then you're saving that 2K, you meet in the middle, have the same roster construction, but 2 different options.
There we go. Great point, Nades. Let's go talk some bats. I got 9 games. We do have to worry about 2 spots. I'll bring that up one more time. But again, thumbs up, like button, subscribe button does help us out a ton over here. First game of the nights. Well, that's actually not true. There is 640 games. It's not on either slate, so we're not worrying about it. But first game on the main slate, Tampa Bay Rays and the Houston Astros. 9 total, minus 115 on the under. Rays, minus 148 favorites in this one. You just talked about Gordon a little bit. And hey, right on cue. Gang Green's asking about Pepio. So Pepio on the mound for the Rays. You can touch on that a little bit. Again, very warm in Tampa. What are you doing here?
Yeah, very warm. It's going to be 91 pretty much the entire duration of this game. Pretty humid, above 50% humidity. and winds blowing out at between kind of 7 and 12, 15 miles an hour, roughly, give or take. And this stadium is definitely driven by wind. It's kind of blowing out to right center field here. I'll touch on the Houston side just because people have talks about Pepiot. He's reverse splitsy, even between this year and last year. Lower K rate to righties, which that means he gives up power and he gives up a lot of fly balls to right-handed hitters here. Only issue is the Astros have really on the season one guy that's hitting the ball in the air, or two guys for the most part. That's Paredes and Walker. So you talk about a mini stack right there. That's a really good mini stack in general that I like. Full ninning and at bats, but realistically, I don't mind this Houston stack. They're not one of my favorite stacks, but I think whether full ninning at bats, if it goes south for Pepiot, they have upside, and I think it's a decent stack. The Rays kind of sitting right around middle of the road over the last 30 days in terms of bullpens. They ranked 19th. So there's some upside for the Houston bats. The offense is just overall atrocious, though. Paredes, Walker, my two favorite bats there overall. You can always play Altuve, Pena. Those guys are nice for sure. On the Rays side, Colton Gordon, you can definitely play him, but he got obliterated in his first start. It's just a salary play out of necessity for a weak pitching slate overall. And if you needed to save salary, that's kind of the reason being for him. But on this, I mean, the Rays, I think Danny Jansen's good, Misner, Morel, Diaz. I mean, you can play these guys. The only slight worry that I do have with this team is just the ownership because, I mean, everyone's kind of slamming this. And then the Astros have the second best bullpen in all of baseball. So if Gordon does get tagged, say he gets tagged for 3 runs early, it's probably, I mean, I'd be surprised if the Rays team scores much more than the runs that they scored off of Gordon, just with the way the Astros bullpen is. So I have slight concern with some of the Rays bats, especially at the projected ownerships, because again, they are getting slammed. Look at their price points. I mean, majority of this lineup sub 3K. It allows you to spend up at pitching and play the Phillies. So you just got to understand how optimizers, how calculators and projections are going to work. And more people are going to play this in a projection-driven game. People don't look at number statistics. They look at projections. They look at and let calculators and optimizers, for the most part, work for them. And that's where this team's going to get kind of slammed. Only concern I have is, again, that Houston bullpen is elite.
Yeah. For 9 games on the slate, just seeing Tampa get this much ownership, and this Houston team's been so bad. Like, I need to see Yordong in the lineup. I don't want to touch this game, really. Again, Rays mini stacks, like, people are going to already do that, so it doesn't make you any different. I usually want to get different on my mini stacks on such a big slate if I'm eating more chalk, which I am at pitchers. So I got to find other games to get different. So this is mainly a cross-off for me. Sheets, our man, what's going on? Plethora, I don't know, you chirping my language, or you're just so impressed that I knew a big word, but yeah, big word, plethora. It's a great question. The reason I pulled it up right now, if I had to pick, now I guess I don't even know, like 20%, I guess, the O's, I could find 5 bats, maybe under 20%. I would pick the O's right here, though. I think the Brewers are a little interesting. Nades, when you come across your team, you let us know. But, I mean, I don't think Dean Kramer is very good. I don't think Quinn Priester is very good. This game's not getting too much ownership on either side. 8.5 total, minus 122 on the over. Brewers minus 118 favorites. Both Priester and Kramer get hit a little harder on the left side. Looking at the O's lineup, lefty, righty, lefty, 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 righty, lefty, righty. More lefties than righties would I like. Brewers, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, righty in their projected. I didn't see if either of those, I didn't refresh. Let me check quick. Oh, we did get the O's lineup. Holiday, Mounts, Gunner. They got Laureano in the 4-hole at 3.1K. Ryan O'Hearn, Cedric. So there's no Adley, which hurts a little bit. I mean, it's at least cheap enough. Like, people are playing these Rays because of their pricing and stuff. There's not one guy. There's no Gun. Oh, yeah, Gunner's in there. Gunner's not even – how is he not above 5K? I like this team a lot. They don't break the bank. I'm paying up for pitching. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Quinn Priester's not great. They played a good amount of lefties in their lineup. Yeah, so if I had to pick one sheets, if it counts, give me the O's. They might be a little above 20%. So you're asking for a deep, deep dive, but that's as good as I got. I think the Brewers a little interesting too. Can you run on Kramer and then break down this game?
Yeah, so I'll start with the O's. The O's are one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Looking at the lefties, this team you want against pitchers that struggle against lefties because their best hitters hit from the left side. Jackson Holiday, certified stud. He's leading off. Gunnar, way too cheap. I don't know what DraftKings is doing, pricing Gunnar Henderson. I mean, the dude's just an absolute beast. They got two of the best young players in all of baseball, and Holiday and Gunnar right there. Love both of those guys. Laureano's been absolutely raking. Priester is pretty tough overall on righties for the most part, but in stacks, absolutely include the righties. I want to start with the lefties. Holiday, Gunnar, O'Hearn, Seti Mullins. Those four would be staples in my O's builds. This team's going to be very, very under-owned overall when looking at the slate compared to Seattle, compared to Philly, compared to the Dodgers, compared to that LA-Oakland game. So I think this is the sneaky spot right here. Looking at the bullpens, Brewers bullpen was abysmal to start the year. Over the last 30 days, they're top 10. However, on the other side, you talk about the Brewers. I definitely have interest in the Brewers. The O's bullpen has gotten better, but it's still bottom 20 in the league over the last month. I like the Brewers lefties overall. Kramer does have a ground ball lean. Brewers struggle to hit the ball in the air. This lineup has been, I think, 28th in all of baseball over the last month too, which is scary. But they do have a lot of talent. It's going to turn around sooner or later for both of these teams. It could be a spot where they both play each other. High total in this game as well. Decent park to hit in overall. Roof's going to be closed, but overall it's above average park for hitting. I like both sides of this game. Definitely prefer the O's. On the Brewers side, I want the lefties too. And then add in Churio, who's a beast. Contreras at a catcher position that you can always play. And Hoskins has been one of the best hitters in all of baseball over the last month. So I like him a ton, 3,900. He's cheap. Jake Bowers, for all the BVP guys out there, has 3 home runs off of our guy Dean Kramer there in limited at-bats. So I like both sides. This is my sneaky game of the slate. Don't really think many people are going to go to either side of this game with other teams on the slate.
Man, we're lockstep, Nays. We're only 2 games in, but this was the sneaky one I had targeted. Always my preferred. Like I said, 20%. I don't know quite if the 5-man will be 20, maybe 26. Regardless, I mean, always put up 9, 10. You'll be happy at that ownership, no doubt. You can see neither team really getting too much ownership. So these projected will turn to confirmed once we update it, but the O's lineup is out. And again, no Adley in the lineup. Laureano moved up to the 4 spot. Oh, so they got an opener, the Brewers. All right. It doesn't really change much. It'll be the 1 inning. I will say, it literally just came out a minute ago. Does that change anything for you, Nades? Like, I don't love when my hitters go against openers. Like, I want my first 3 guys to see the starting pitcher twice. I mean, twice ideally, because usually if it's 3 times, the pitcher's doing pretty well. But I just don't like seeing the best hitters, when you stack them top 3, see 2 different arms in their first 2 at-bats. But it's not going to get me off the O's. But do you have any thoughts when you see an opener on either side, whether you're usually not going to play Priester when that happens, but when you're attacking the opener?
Yeah, I mean, the reason they're doing that is they're throwing a lefty opener to kind of counter off that of Gunnar and Jackson, who both can hit lefties, by the way. And then Mountcastle and Laureano are built for splits against left-handed pitching. So realistically, if anything, it just boosts my interest in Mountcastle and Laureano, who naturally are going to go even lower owned in the Baltimore stack, because most people aren't really going to adjust too much. They're still going to play against Priester, which I agree with. So overall, it just makes me like him a little bit more. Priester's still going to come in behind him. This dude's going to throw 1 inning, maybe 2 innings. He's a lefty, and Laureano and the righties in this Baltimore lineup can smash left-handed pitching. So
I like it. Makes a lot of sense. Next game on the slates, we have the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Guardians. Again, this is the biggest weather concern on the slate. It is just orange, so it's not guaranteed this game plays, but assuming it does, 7.5 total, -115 on the over. Twins -142 favorites. I think Ober is a very solid pitcher on this slate, assuming the game goes. I don't need to pick on him against the Guardians. It is interesting, though. Some of these Guardians pretty solid hitter rankings, especially at their team total. Twin side, Ty France, Brooks Lee also pretty solid hitter rankings. Looking at the lineup, we do have it out. So Jeffers is leading off. Brooks Lee in the 2-hole. Royce Lewis 3, France, Larnick, Bride, McCuster, Bader, Willie Castro. The bottom of the order is just gross. No Buxton, obviously, too, which I'd want to see playing the Twins. Yeah, I think if both of these would qualify for under 20%, I don't see either being on the winner. I don't like it. What about you?
Yeah, just be the top 4 guys from the Twins side just to attack the home run issues that Allen has. But this Twins offense is brutal, especially against lefties. I mean, there's only 2 guys above 150 ISO, and that's Jeffers and Royce Lewis in this entire lineup. Brooks Lee is nice because he's a switch hitter at 2 weak positions, second base, third base. If he's still both dual position eligibility there for both of those, it's just the top 4 guys. Don't love it, but I wouldn't exclude it. Kiersey, if he's in there, I didn't see if he's in there, but he's basically stone minimum. He's not in there, so you don't have to worry about him. Yeah, so it's just the top 4 guys for me. No interest in the Cleveland side. I mean, even a leverage wise, just don't. Ober's still going to get held in check with Sanchez soaking up so much of the ownership. Even if Ober's 30%, you don't have to worry about that. So I'm not really interested in the Guardians. There's much better teams. I would rather play that Astros-Rays game over that. I would rather play some other teams I'm going to talk about over the Guardians. So out on the Guardians, just the top 4 hitters for the Twins. More mini stacks, Jeffers, Lewis, my 2 favorite.
Let's go to the next game. I think there's a little interest. Pretty solid team total for the Mariners, and you see ownership in check. A lot of that has to do with, if people are spending up, they want to go to the Phillies in Coors Field. But Mariners, White Sox, we are looking at a 8 total, minus 118 on the over. Mariners minus 192 favorites. So it looks like Davis Martin more reverse splits, which is interesting. Like when you see a guy like Polanco, Crawford, Cal Raleigh, it's not like Davis Martin's good against lefties, but it is weird to see higher fly balls to the right side of the plates. Bullpen's just so bad behind Davis Martin as well. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats for the Mariners. Ownership in check. It all looks pretty good to me. I'll keep attacking this White Sox rotation every single day, especially when the other team's not chalk. So doesn't look like great hitting weather though. I know you use Ballpark Pal. Looks 60 degrees though, wind blowing across. I don't know how it has there, but yeah, break down this game. I'm not playing the Sox. If you do, it's the lefties that you want against Castillo, but yeah, they just got nobody.
Yeah, no Sox for me. I do like the Seattle side. You want to play this team when they're outside of their terrible ballpark that they play half their season in. Outside of that park, they're one of the best offenses in baseball statistically. Even over the last month, lineup wise, they're top 10 in all of baseball. In the last 30 games, they're 9th overall. Love this team. Raleigh, Polanco, Crawford's been hitting the ball. J-Rod, Arozarena, Rowdy Tellez. You got a cheap guy in there, Leody Taveras. I always like him too because he's got stolen base upside. Dylan Moore at 4,800 is a little ridiculous. That's kind of crazy there if he's in the lineup. Nobody's going to click that name at that price there with that roster spot. I like all 9 hitters for the Seattle. Over the last month, White Sox bullpen is the 3rd worst bullpen in all of baseball. Naturally, right? We know that this team is terrible. It's kind of guys that just want to continue to play in baseball for the cheapest, or any team that'll just pay them, right? And that's what you see with the White Sox roster there. So I love the Mariners. This is another one for Sheets that overall this team is just not going to get ownership compared to the other teams on the slate. And again, it's a top 10 offense in all of baseball over the last month. So I'm in. I like all 9 hitters.
There we go. Let's keep it rolling. Plenty of games to talk about. Next game, St. Louis Cardinals, Detroit Tigers. We are looking at 8 total, minus 115 on the under. Minus 166 favorites are the Cardinals. Let me refresh weather quick. Nothing's changed. He still has this game yellow-orange. So again, Minnesota, Cleveland, the most concerning at orange. This game, the second most concerning at yellow-orange. We're going to assume it plays, though. I think Sonny Gray is one of the best pitchers on the slate. Grades out well in the rankings. No thank you for the Tigers. Other side, though, very small sample on this Montero dude. He just does not look very good, especially lefties. So like Nootbaar, Donovan, Burleson. Let's see if we have this lineup out. Yeah, we do have this lineup. How many lefties? Nootbaar, Wynn, Donovan, Wilson, Herrera. So pretty much how we have it expected. Scott, Burleson, Donovan, Nootbaar. But I'm fine throwing in the righties in the mix of it. Nootbaar, Donovan would be the staples. I think mini stacks are fine. Again, look at ownership. I mean, this could have been, if it wasn't for O's, maybe it'd be Cardinals. And again, maybe this comes up if Roth gives the green light, but I think the Cardinals look interesting against Montero. Wouldn't crack my top 4 on the slate, though, but ownership's super, super low. If you are MMEing playing 20 plus, I think it's pretty easy to get with the field on the Cardinals, and it could pay off nicely. What about you?
Yeah, I do like the Cardinals. It does look like, I haven't confirmed, but I'm seeing I'm seeing Gunther as an opener to start. I don't know if he's opening or what the deal is. They're a lefty, kind of similar probably to what the Brewers are going to do to throw some of those lefties against. Because I mean, you do want lefties against Montero, Nootbaar, Donovan. You're right there. Burleson at the back, Victor Scott at the back. I like those 4 guys a lot. Against lefties in general, looking at the lefty hitters against lefties, Donovan is okay. I mean, he doesn't strike out. He doesn't hit for a ton of power, but puts the ball in play even against lefties. Nootbaar still hits for a little power, league average in terms of strikeouts against lefties. And then you got Herrera and Contreras both who smash left-handed pitching. Mason Wynn's been a baller all season. So still like the stack. Definitely have interest in the Cardinals overall. Slight downgrade to full stacks just with that Detroit bullpen. If this does turn into a bullpen game, I haven't read up too much, but I do see Gunther is at least projected to go right now, assuming he's just an opener and it's going to be Montero after that. But the Tigers bullpen is top 10 in baseball over the last month, 7th as it stands. So slight downgrade to some of the upside the Cardinals hitters have, but I do like them at the projected ownership on this slate as pivots off of the quote unquote can't miss spots, right? Where everybody seems to be going with the Phillies, the Dodgers, etc. The Rays. I like the Cardinals just as much, if not more.
Yeah, it does look like they're going with this Gunther. Look like just looking at his recent starts in quotes, 23, 18 or 23, 28, 18, 11, 24 pitches. His last 2 though, he's won 6 at bats, 7 at bats. So he came out for 2 innings, 1 in the 3rd. 2 innings a couple weeks ago. So it's not guaranteed he's just going to go 1. Like if he goes 1, 2, 3, they might send him back. But with all these righties after that, maybe it's just 1. I don't know. I guess that takes a little appeal off the cards for me. Again, I mentioned earlier, I don't love seeing openers. Again, it's not the worst thing, but I want my leadoff hitter. I want Lars Nootbaar to see if he gets out on Montero the first time, like he at least saw the arm angle. He knows his off speed. Like he got to read to see him again. Whereas that's not the case when you're batting at least in the top 3, seeing 2 arms in your first 2 at bats, not my favorite way to go. So, yeah, I don't love the Cardinals as much as I thought I would. All right, next game on the slate, Coors Field, everyone's favorite. Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Colorado Rockies. 10 total, minus 112 on the under, minus 245 favorites are the Phillies. Kyle Freeland. I feel like there's always been talk for years about Kyle Freeland. Sometimes he navigates in Coors. Sometimes he absolutely doesn't. No doubt the Phillies are going to be very chalk. But on a slate where pitching is not fun down below, you want to spend up. Now, Christopher Sanchez, a.k.a. Bailey Ober at 8-2, it's not necessarily spending up. But if you play those 2, like it's pretty hard to go 1 through 4 Phillies. This is a team, though, we always see it in Coors. Like, I think they're very good, the Phillies today. Play the bottom of the order, too. We see it all the time. The Padres come to mind a couple weeks back against the Rockies, where most of their damage, at least early, was all bottom of the order. And they were like 5%, 6%. The guys up top, Tatis was like 25%. I don't know if we see a big enough or that big of a gap this week or today, but I'm playing Phillies 1 through 9. I think they're very solid plays. How do you play them is the question. You're the contrarian guy, Nades, though, and I can't make a case for the Rockies. Usually I try to go opposite team, which is always the Rockies' opposite chalk team in Coors. This lineup's awful. Sanchez keeps the ball on the ground. I got nothing. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, so for the Rockies, I mean, it's pretty brutal overall. I mean, this team does hit the ball in the air against left-handed pitching, but I just don't see it on the slate. I mean, if you want to, sure. You're just contrarian enough, just not playing Sanchez overall. That's pretty much all you have to do. On the Phillies side, I do have some reservation. This team has just not been great against left-handed pitching. overall a team ISO of 123, which is where the power comes in. Obviously, you don't just need home runs, but that's where the most upside comes in. Things get out of hand in a hurry. And that's that's inflated by Schwarber's numbers, which are off the chart against lefties, even in particular. So him and Castellanos are my two favorite bats in this lineup. Overall, I'm going to be underweight on the Phillies here. Freeland has navigated against this Phillies roster pretty good overall. Obviously, the Rockies bullpen behind Freeland isn't great there, but I like other teams that I think can match the output of this Phillies team overall. Phillies chalk is always scary. They've burned many people, including myself, all season long. On a slate like this, where I like the O's a ton, I like the Mariners a lot. I like the Dodgers and D-backs late game. I like that Angels Athletics game. I think there's enough spots that can match the output of the Phillies. I get the reasoning for playing them, but it's just too clear cut overall. I think everybody's going to go in on them. Definitely include the guys at the back half to your point, title. Those guys are naturally going to be underowned. Don't go in there and play 1 through 5, right? Real Muto, Castellanos, Schwarber, Harper, Turner. That's everybody's going to do that. When you play them differently. I'm going to be underweight on the Phillies, just the way I'm going to play. I never like attacking Freeland overall for the most part, whether it's right, wrong, indifferent. I just think there's other teams on the slate that can match their output, if not outscore them at significantly lower ownership. So that's kind of the take I'm taking. And if it doesn't work, well, I'll be back tomorrow to play again. So
I like playing the idea of playing like one of Robbie Ray or Bubic when playing the Phillies, because people aren't going to try. Like, it gets gross. Like I plugged in Robbie Ray and Bubic together, which definitely playing those pairing would make it even less owned. But like, you can't go, even if you want Trey Turner, Harper, like pick 2 up top and then try and go decently low. And I put in like Sosa, Alec Bohm, Johan Rojas. You can't, like 1,867 you're left. You physically cannot do it. So if you play one of Ray, that's both a Ray Bubic. You play both of them, you pretty much have to go to the bottom of the order. And at that point, I don't even love it as much. But playing just one of Ray Bubic would allow you, and then like Ober is your second one, would allow you to get Turner, Harper, Schwarber if you want. Then you'd have to find 2 other like cheaper guys and cheap mini stacks, but you can make that work. Now, that's why like the Rays we're talking about earlier are getting some ownership, because they fit a lot of builds. When you go Phillies, mid-tier pitching, it just works with the solid team total and warm. So I wouldn't love to do that, but paying up at pitching while trying to play the Phillies and just punting other spots, I think is an interesting way to do it that not many will on this slate.
Yeah, one more thing too, and kind of why I'm under on this too is, I mean, the weather here is just atrocious for hitting overall. Obviously, it's Coors Field, right? And just naturally, it's going to be above average, best park in baseball due to the elevation, etc. I get all of that, but temperatures are in the mid 50s in this game, with wind gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour blown in. Sustained winds right around. I just did a couple deep dives in some different weather forecasts over here, and I'm seeing sustained at 9, gust up to 20 blown in. So that's just another knock against a spot where I'm just looking for my easiest way to the top. And like I said, there's much better hitting environments with other high upside offenses here tonight that I like a lot. So that's kind of the reason why I'm going to be under on this game as a whole.
Never would argue fading chalk or being underweight on chalk in a sport like baseball with so much variance. So makes some sense to me. All right, Nades, we have 3 games left on the slates. This one pretty easy for me. Giants, Royals, Bubic, Robbie Ray on the mound. We are looking at a 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 total. Lowest on the slate with -122. On the under, -135 favorites are the Giants. Ray number 3 in the pitcher rankings, Bubic number 5 in the pitcher rankings. Both getting some ownership, though, a little bit, if you do want to get some direct leverage against these guys. I hate playing hitters in Giants Stadium. I hate, well, the Royals. They've done me pretty solid. They've done you solid, so I can't say I hate playing the Royals. G. Rison hates playing the Royals. I don't think I've stacked the Giants all year. I'm not attacking these 2 pitchers on the slate. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, these prices on the Royals are just sucker price tags. I mean, Salvi Perez at 3,300, you look at that and it just begs you to click the button, and then you get your 4 fantasy points and you hate yourself, right, at the end of the night when a dude that's right around him hits a home run, hits a double, and outscores him by 10x, right? Like, it's just, I mean, outside of Bobby Witt, there's no there's no reason to play the Royals tonight. Bobby Witt's an elite one-off. Nobody's going to play him. He's one of the best hitters in all of baseball. I talk about it all the time. He smashes left-handed pitching. In general, even in this park, I mean, you don't need a home run with Bobby slams. The dude, every time he gets on base, he's swiping. So that's the only guy I'd have interest in this entire game. Terrible ballpark. Two of the best bullpens of baseball. Royals are 6th best overall on the season. Giants are 1st overall in all of baseball. Robbie Ray, Bubic, two of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Complete cross-off outside of Bobby Witt.
Yeah. Bobby Witt, Corbin Carroll, Aaron Judge, like you can play those dudes any day of the week. Well, with all that being said, I mean, look at the number 1 in the hitter rankings, but look at his price and ownership. And the reason for that, we're talking paying up at pitching, stacking the Phillies. When you find the stack you want, there's going to be expensive bats and you're going to play expensive pitchers. If you play Jonathan India, if you play Bobby Witt as a one-off, nobody is doing that. Absolutely nobody. Now, you do need a lot of points. I don't think it's my favorite way to approach a slate like today. But again, you can play him any day. He has all the upside in the world, and he's going to be 1% owned just because his price, team total, nature of the slate, other spends, etc. So that's interesting right there.
So play your Dodgers stack and your Philly stack. Leave out Turner, leave out Mookie, play Bobby Witt for $100 or $200 more right there. Instantly, you're different than the field. All you need is one guy in that Philly stack to fail, being Trey Turner, or not even fail. You just need Bobby Witt to outscore him, which I'll take my chances any day of the week with one of the best hitters in all of baseball in my stack. So right there, naturally, you're already stacking the Phillies. You were going to click $5,900 Trey Turner. Click Bobby Witt instead. Punt off another value like a Rojas or a Weston Wilson, and just sacrifice it that way.
There you go. Easy stuff. 2 teams, 2 examples right there. Candace, yeah, I think Bubic and Ray, you can definitely play together. Like, the only thing you sacrifice when you play pitchers in the same game is obviously both pitchers cannot earn the win. But how many times do you see both pitchers earn the win? Like, on DraftKings, the 4 points, it matters. But if both Bubic and Robbie Ray go out there and throw you 6 innings and only one gets the win, you're not killing for those 4 points. Especially today, I think the highest projected pitcher when we took the average of our projections in SaberSim was like 17.5. Like, you give me 6 innings and 5 Ks from either of these guys in this park, yeah, you're sacrificing 1 win. But I guess you might be more likely to get the other win. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I love pairing pitchers together because more times than not, when you're pairing pitchers, it's 2 pretty solid arms in general. So you're pretty much guaranteed the 4 points out of one of your pitchers. Where you play 2 pitchers not in the same game, I mean, you're not guaranteed any points realistically, right? Not to say when you stack both pitchers that you're guaranteed 1 win, but the ideal scenario, right, when you're stacking pitchers is you're assuming both pitchers are going to have a good game. So naturally, one of them is going to get the win. If neither of them get the win, well, you weren't going to win anyways, right? So with those pitchers, because they're probably getting blown up, and you need neither of those pitchers to be on the winning lineup overall. So I love that approach. It's goes under own definitely in today's DFS, and especially in pitchers ballparks like the Giants. I love it, especially on a slate like this.
Yeah, if someone lets up 5 runs, 6 runs, you're not winning anyway. But if neither gets the win, but it's because it's 0-0 and they both went 6 straight 6 Ks, you're fine with that. Like, most pitchers on this slate probably aren't doing that, so it's not even killing you that way. So very fine playing both in the same lineup. I also mentioned it earlier prior because the 2 most expensive pitchers on the slate, when people want to pay for bats and people are going to the mid-tier more at pitching, which makes it even more interesting today. All right, 2 games left. Oakland Athletics taking on the Los Angeles Angels. We are looking at, I guess I can't keep saying Oakland. They play in Sacramento, but you get what I'm saying. The A's taking on the Angels. 10 total in this one, -115 on the under. -142 favorites are the A's, though. I mean, 10 total, the same as Coors. Similar, like over on, or like juice on the under, -112 for the Rockies game, -115 for this one. And looking at ownership, I mean, man, I don't know if the Angels are going to be this high owned. They're going to get maybe some ownership because of their pricing. I think we might be a little hot on them. We're not seeing much ownership on the A's. Yeah, I mean, Soriano looks another guy, definitely a ground ball pitcher, but looks to be hit a little harder on the right side than the left side. I don't know. Straight K stuff, not very high, but he keeps the ball on the ground. this A's team, we like the park. The prices are fair. Team total's good. And then you liked Ginn, but yeah, what are your thoughts on the Angels too?
Yeah, so the reason for it being Ginn is just strictly roster construction. If you need another guy down there, I do think he has upside, and it's just overall the Angels against right-handed pitching are just brutal in terms of strikeouts. They lead the league in strikeouts. They're subpar. I mean, they got a sub 100 ISO as a team, so you're not really worried about home runs really hurting you too much there. I love the A's in this game. I get it. Soriano keeps the ball on the ground, but he does struggle with command at times. He'll walk guys. This A's lineup is patient overall. And then I did a deep dive on the Angels bullpen, right? They obviously swept the Dodgers over the weekend. They used as many of their, looking at their bullpen, Kenley Jansen, obviously he's their closer, right? He threw 27 pitches. Neris is day-to-day. He threw 28. And then their top three bullpen arms threw 37, 38, and 39 pitches in the last 2 days. Their bullpen is extremely taxed here, really good hitting environment. And we know the Angels bullpen is the worst bullpen in all of baseball, and it's taxed being that. Nobody's going to play the A's side of this game. I think the A's are one of the best leverage stacks on the board with upside. I like them all. Righties is what you want first, right? Jacob Wilson, Rooker, Langeliers. And then you got some really, really good lefties in there, right? Blade, Soderstrom has been a beast all season. Nick Kurtz as a value there. Look at their ownership. Going back to Sheets, this could be the team that's sub 20% stack, right around 20% stack ownership. I mean, their total sitting at a 5. It's a horrible bullpen, a taxed bullpen, and all of these guys are projected to be sub 5% for the most part. So I love the A side of this game. On the Angels side, I still think you can play them. The Athletics bullpen is not great by any means. They're 26th in baseball over the last month. Neto has been a baller all season. Taylor Ward, Soler, Logan O'Hoppe, Moncada has been hitting bombs left and right. I don't know what happened to him, but definitely think both sides have upside. Prefer the Athletics in tournaments. I don't think the Angels are going to get this much ownership. I do think they do get steam, though, just from a projection-driven game. And people, especially hand builders, et cetera, clicking game logs and seeing what the Angels did over the weekend. Recency bias isn't quite as much in today's world, right, with projections and ownership driving majority of the players in the contest lobbies that you're going to play. But there is still some recency bias. Angels have been decent over the weekend. People are going to click them. I like the A side much more.
Yeah, I prefer A's too. Taylor Ward, though, man, 3 of his last 4 games, homer. I mean, he's been scorching hot. Neto, too. So if you want the top of the order mini stack, I wouldn't hate it that way. But, yeah, A's are interesting. I agree. Probably ownership stays pretty similar.
There's some wind blowing out here, too. Temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s, 7 to 10 mile an hour winds blowing out to right center field here, which definitely helps this park a lot with no grandstands, etc., kind of holding the wind out.
Yeah, good shout there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys are a little higher on from the Rays stuff, but I also don't think many people are going to be jumping to play the A's on this 9-game slate with Coors Field, etc. It's just like if they do, it's more like they're playing a Robbie Ray or a Bubik and then a Sanchez. Like, they're going to go that route. They're going to eat chalk pitching for sure because it's really easy to fit anything you really want when you are going 5-man A's. But yeah, you like them. I wouldn't worry about ownership today with them. Cool. 1 game left on the slate. Appreciate all 320 of you watching live, watching on playback. Appreciate y'all as well. All we ask for, again, like button, subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Bringing you shows on this channel every single day. Celebrated our 2-year anniversary last week. Shout out to SHIPIT Nation. Shout out to all the members that make it possible for us to be live, talking sports, doing what we love. Huge weekend. $1 million, multiple 100K plus shippers, MLB streets, golf streets, looking to keep it rolling. Again, if you're not a member, usually $99. Use the code DGEN75, $24, less than $1 a day. Get all of our content for all sports and get SaberSim Core and get access to the Discord. Absolutely no better deal out there. We would love to have you. Last game of the slates. Another 10 total in this one. Dodgers and the D-backs. -112 on the under with the 10 total. -148 favorites are the Dodgers. I mean, man, this game looks nice. Brandon Pfaadt, not by no means bad. I think he's kind of in the Luis Castillo boat where he's not the Brandon Pfaadt that we thought of prior years. and the Dodgers are the Dodgers. Font definitely gives it a better, way more against lefties. I mean, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Muncy's been pretty bad, but Muncy will be low owned. Tommy Edman, assuming he's in the lineup, you can always play Mookie, Will Smith, etc. So that's, I mean, pretty common sense. People will probably go Phillies over Dodgers too, which is why you see the ownership low. I like D-back side more though. This Landon Knack dude, he got shelled last game. Corbin Carroll is one of the best hitters in baseball. Shout out Corbin Carroll. Cast my bet against Nades last week with the double dong. I said on that slate, probably one of the best bats on the slate. I'm going to say it again here. He's absolutely out of this world right now. Single turns into a double. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats. Knack's bad. I'm good playing the D-backs. 1 through 9, really. I keep saying it. Like, I like this lineup 1 through 9. They're going to be super low owned. So it's them or the O's for me, Sheets, at 20% or less. Obviously, Corbin Carroll, that's 6,200. He'll be 10% owned. So that won't matter, or that wouldn't count in the 20% 5-man stack. I still would stack them. They're still going to be low owned enough on the 9-game slate. Great spot for the D-backs. I think Dodgers are interesting too. What do you think in this one?
I love the D-backs in this one. Knack is 14% walk rate to lefties, 16% K rate to righties. That bodes disaster when you play a lineup like the D-backs where your lefties are patient at the plate and will steal. And then you have power righties like Gurriel, Suarez that can just absolutely – Moreno's been good. That can absolutely murder the baseball. Alec Thomas and Pavin Smith have a little bit of a pinch hit concern there. Not too much of a worry in general. Typically, the D-backs just roll it out. And, yeah, the Dodgers do have a good bullpen. But, again, they got swept by the Angels over the weekend. Looking at their bullpen, Garcia's thrown 50 pitches. He's thrown the last 3 days. He will not throw tonight. Trevino will not throw tonight. Banda will not throw tonight. All of those guys, Banda threw 33 yesterday. Trevino threw 41. Garcia threw 17. He threw the 2 days prior. So, I mean, they're taxed in terms of a bullpen, and they've struggled as of late. Like I said, right, the Angels got to them. I love this D-backs team, one of my favorite stacks on the entire board, and I would definitely be overweight on the O's, the D-backs, and what was the other team? The A's. Those are my 3 favorite teams on this slate with ownership perspective in general, and MME going to be significantly over the field in that $5 on all 3 of those offenses. Definitely probably going to play them on my main team as well. I love the D-backs here. You want the lefties and the power righties, and that's great for to attack Knack here. On the Dodgers side, Fott, like I said, I talked about his success against this Dodgers team. The other thing is, though, the Dodgers, they're going to be a little sour, right? They're at home here against the D-backs. This is going to be a future. I mean, looking towards the end of the season here, Ohtani, obviously, I mean, the best hitter in all of baseball. The dude's got stolen base upside too. He's going to be probably the highest owned bat on the entire slate. I do have some concern with the Dodgers. I prefer the Dodgers more as mini stacks than a full stack. D-backs pen is atrocious behind Fott, but I think Fott can give you maybe give up 3 runs, something like that, and then give you 6 innings, 7 innings, and just not really crush where you need to play him in terms of pitching, but does enough where the Dodgers just don't get there at their salaries in terms of a stack. So I definitely prefer stacking on the D-back side, more power in 2-man, 3-man stacks on the Dodger side is personally how I see this game.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think they're interesting pivots off the Phillies, but again, you have to play either the lower part of the order, wrap around, do something. You have to not spend up at pitching, which I don't love. And I like Phillies more in a vacuum. But again, like when I am eating more chalk, I think it's a solid pivot. You want the lefties. Definitely have to be sour after that Angels series coming back home. D-backs, I expect to put up runs too. I don't know how much like pressure you feel on the other side when the other team's scoring runs. You need anyone that's going up there to play base, like trying to bat, is trying to get on base or trying to do something. You only have 4 times. The same thing can't be said in NBA. I mean, I like LeBron, but there's times where LeBron doesn't run back. He just sits down in the regular season. They play 4-on-5, and he gets a free dunk that way. The other team gets a bucket. Not every game's the same in NBA in the regular season. In baseball, you feel like everyone is always trying. So, again, I like D-backs. I think D-backs score runs. Dodgers, maybe more minis. Like you said, I do prefer Phillies at the same price, but very solid game, 10 total.
I like Podges a lot at the back half of that lineup. He always gets left out because people always play Ohtani in the outfield, Freeman at first, and then they're going to play Edman, Conforto. So I like Podges a lot. He's been really good over the last 15 days to 2 to 3 weeks. He's been really good. And then Ohtani, Freeman, and Will Smith have been three of the best hitters in all of baseball over the last month as well. So there's definitely merit to that. And you got a bad bullpen. I just prefer the D-back side overall in general.
Yeah, it makes some sense. And again, one more 8 game. Any promos to join? So yeah, like we said, DGen75. I put it in the chat too, but here it is right here. DGen75 is the code. Just got to go to shipitnation.com. It says join the nation right away. Use that code DGen75 for the first. Oh, there we go. First month. Let me see it. $24 only. It's all access plus the Saber Sim Core. That's the package that this code works on. So usually $99, $75 off, $24, all the content with Saber Sim Core and access to the Discord for the first month, less than $1 a day. We would love to have you. Shout out to you, Devin Davis, as well. Appreciate you stopping in. Again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. That is all 9 games on DraftKings and FanDuel. Again, 7:05 start time. 2 weather spots. The worst, Cleveland, Minnesota. You have to monitor that one. If it's postponed, you follow Roth. You can see it on Underdog. If I'm planning to play, it's going to play right now. If I don't think you should play it, I will take the Discord and I will say personally, I'm jumping off. Everything is a risk tolerance situation at the end of the day, though. And then the other game, Detroit, St. Louis, yellow, orange. Assume it plays. If it doesn't, though, same thing. MLB chat in Discord. Tag at MLB. Make sure to have notifications turned on for that. Nades, final thoughts before we get on out of here.
No, final thoughts. I think we broke it down. Like I said, D-backs, A's, and O's are kind of the 3 teams that I love a lot in tournaments at their projected ownership with their upside. All things considered there. Obviously, Phillies, right? Kind of the clear-cut spot. Phillies in general, pitching and hitting. So what you do with them is kind of a pivotal piece, but should be a pretty fun slate in general. Definitely monitor that weather leading up to lock. I'll get the cores out for SHIPIT Nation members. If you're not a member there, use that promo code DGen75. And again, call out. I don't know if it's still going on, but if you have never been a member over at shipitnation.com and you are paying for content, I believe it's over $50 somewhere else across the industry. I think if you send a screenshot of that to Hoop and Tambo at info at shipitnation.com, they will give you a free month, I do believe, as well, just to try it out, check our stuff out. Hopefully you stick around and you sign up and realize that this is a one-stop shop, all the best tools in the industry, Saber Sim partnership, etc. Best Discord in the industry as well. Tons of knowledgeable members in there dropping nuggets, and chat and game theory, etc. Like I said, Kenny's in there all the time, messaging one of the best high stakes players in the game. Chalub plays at the highest stakes. He crushes. Again, Millie makers left and right talking in the Discord. So one of the best places to be, if not the best place, in my opinion.
Definitely one of the best places to be. I think the best. I did not know that, so do not quote Nades 100%. Foop and Tam will say no. I don't know the drill again. DGem75, though, I do know. Get you $75 off your first month. Appreciate that, RBL. You have a great night yourself. Jake, good luck to you, the Brewers, and the Rays. Good luck to everybody out there. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Like button on the way out. Helps us out a ton. We'll be back tomorrow for Nades. I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck. Peace.